hopefully this can help you. I don't know if it can. And I'm going to give you a tip. If you're not watching my videos on 1.25, 1.5 speed, you need to do that because I talk slow. So, hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. If you've followed me for any long period of time, you've probably heard me mention that I've started my photography journey in like 2010, a while back. I did it for a couple years. I didn't grow, didn't learn anything. I quit, and then I kind of came back to it in like 2018, 2019 timeframe. And that's kind of where you have caught me now, is the progression from 2018. What I would like to do in this video is kind of tell you a little bit about that journey, what all I was doing, like why did I run away from photography, what I did in the middle, in the meantime, what was I doing, and what kind of led me back to it. And some of the things that actually kind of helped me grow and understand more what I was doing wrong with my photography, even though it wasn't fully photography related. So let's check it out. So as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of tech gadgets here, from phone gimbals, little camera gimbal, basically the Pocket 2, the older version of what I'm actually shooting this on, the Pocket 3, the actual mirrorless or camera gimbal. I've got vintage lenses. I do have my laptop up here for a specific reason. And then I've got these little moment lenses. Back in 2010, I deployed. I came back from my deployment and I decided I wanted to try to start doing photography. I had taken photos of my car with like a power shot or something like that, just a point and shoot type camera, and I really enjoyed it. I loved being able to kind of capture the car and get it posed right, which that's not nearly as difficult as it is actually posing models. But you know, I thought, hey, let me try to make this work. And so, like I said, I bought a kit camera and lens off of Amazon, some type of a Canon kit lens, and I bought a EF 50 millimeter 1.8, you know, the little nifty 50. Fantastic. But I didn't really know anything about photography. I didn't know any terminology. I didn't know aperture, shutter, ISO. I knew that from a video side, but I didn't understand it from the still side. And so a lot of photography just kind of eluded me, much less like lighting, posing, anything like that. The business side of it, literally I had a base model type DSLR, a decent little 50 millimeter lens, and that was about it. So I tried making it happen. I tried shooting. I felt like I had good composition. I was a graphic designer in the Air Force prior to, so I already kind of knew composition, rule of thirds, that type of thing, you know, areas of emphasis. Again, I also knew it for video. So rules of thirds are the same for video as they are for photo. Putting your subject on emphasis points and intersection points. I understood all that, but I didn't, again, understand photography. I didn't understand depth of field. You know, at 1.8 on that 50 millimeter, you know, I could get really nice subject separation, but I didn't understand that my depth of field was like this. And if I went to 2.8, then my depth of field is like this, and I get more images in focus. And I just struggled. I shot everything out of slant. You know, I had like Dutch angles on everything. And I just didn't understand. I didn't understand. I never even heard of the term exposure triangle. So as far as exposure went, I would go out and shoot, and I would literally be changing my settings on my camera probably after every shot or almost every shot. I just didn't understand what I was doing. I didn't understand why my images were coming out horribly wrong. So I would go out and let's just say I would take 100 photos and I would come back with probably 90 that were horrible and 10 that were decent. And this basically went on for like a year and a half to 2 years. Again, being military, I ended up getting an assignment, and I moved from Texas to the Washington, D.C. area. And I just kind of felt like at that point in time, it was a good idea for me to take a break. Like, just stop. There's no reason for me to keep doing this. I'm going to quit. I'm really not getting any better. The only type of photography that I did after 2012 was family photos. And when I mean family photos, I mean my own family photos. I wasn't getting any work. I wasn't finding clients, nothing like that at all. Literally me, my wife, and my daughter, or my family friends when we would go on vacation together. Those were the only types of photos that I got. My dog is in the background barking, so if you hear her, that's why. So 2012, I pretty much had a clean break. I moved to a different area. I didn't need to start a business or anything like that, or I didn't need to try anything. And so really I had gone away from photography altogether. I did video, but that was for my job, and I wasn't looking at doing anything on the outside with video. So it was strictly anything away from photography. So as I mentioned, I was a graphic designer before. So what I had actually started doing was like realistic car drawings in Illustrator. I was doing maybe some like car show design, stuff like that. Kind of just keeping that skill set going. Not really making a lot of money on it, but just doing it to kind of fill my time. I really wasn't doing anything outside of work for the military and just kind of enjoying my last assignment in the military. In like 2014, I finally decided to go ahead and pull the trigger and buy myself an Apple computer. And I really didn't buy myself an Apple computer. I bought a computer for my daughter, but it needed some work. Now, don't jump on me about the Apple thing, but I am an Apple enthusiast now. But what I quickly learned is that Apple had and has its own following, its own brand following. And so what I was doing was kind of like, I bought this computer. It was an iMac, an old iMac, and I fixed it up and brought some new life back into it, and she was able to use it. I think it was a 2007 at that point. I put in like solid state drives, that kind of stuff, but just upgraded it, made it work. And so I thought, you know what, this is fun. I enjoy doing that. And I've worked on computers before, but it had been a while. But what I decided is that I wanted to actually see if I could like do more stuff like that. So I bought a couple Apple computers, laptops on eBay. I fixed them up and resold them. And what do you know, I was able to actually start making a little bit of fun money, right? And so basically from like 2014 to 2017, I was like building a small Apple repair, refurbish, resell, flip business, whatever you want to call it. I retired in 2016, January timeframe, moved back to San Antonio. And in that time, I don't know, probably a year. I spent a year like marketing what I was doing, fixing phones, fixing iPads, fixing computers. I would drive all over San Antonio, buying old ones, flipping them, basically selling them out on eBay, selling them locally, making pretty good money. For instance, I found one, I bought it for $80, found out that it still had Apple warranty on it. Even though it extended past the warranty time, there was a recall basically on one of their video cards. So I took it in, they swapped out the video card, got the laptop back and sold it for $800. Man, fantastic. So I took that money and put it right back into that. But I was doing a side hustle and it was just a fun little grind. But literally every day I was doing something for that. And I'll juxtapose that with what I was doing with photography when I first started. I didn't know anything about photography, but I definitely was not grinding daily to figure it out. I wasn't online looking for things on what I could do differently, how I could do better. When I started doing the stuff on computers, I went on to YouTube. Now, of course, in 2010, YouTube wasn't what it was even in 2014, 2015, 16. So there is a little bit of that, but that's an excuse. But I found people on YouTube that were kind of doing the same thing, or they had like a tech channel. And so I would look and see what they had as far as Apple computers and what they were doing to make them better. And so I was learning in that time kind of what the grind actually required. And I think that's like one of the very first things that truly has helped in my photography, especially when I kind of got back to it, was that grind. And I think that's something that I've mentioned before, and I definitely want you to understand. It is a grind. You have to do it all the time. If you want to get better, if you want to grow your business, if you want to get clients, you have to sacrifice some things and just get out there and do it. It's got to be a consistent thing. And I harp on that consistency all the time. And when I was like reselling the computers and doing that kind of stuff, again, from 2016, the whole year I was basically marketing and pushing out stuff. And it probably wasn't until about 2021, 2022 that people stopped reaching out to me. I hadn't marketed since 2017, but I had a pretty good business, a pretty good word of mouth, a nice following, fixing, reselling Apple computers. Something else that I did in that time, and you know, it's that creative thing, I guess. Drones started coming out. And of course, I don't have my drone here because I've actually sold the drone, but I went ahead and bought a Mavic Pro. I just went right out there and got a Mavic Pro. Fantastic, man. It was so fun. And the Mavic Pro, to me, is what really brought me back to photography. So I started shooting with that, again, just video, but flying with it. I knew video, I knew how to work video. So it was fun and interesting for me. So I was trying to get good shots, but I wanted to learn how to do it better, get more cinematic shots. So I started going back onto YouTube to figure that out. You know, what are good settings for the camera to get, you know, a slow, smooth shot, that type of thing. I found, and I've mentioned them before, Peter McKinnon, Matty Hapoya. I found those two. And in that time, you know, it really kind of, I started watching those guys religiously. I kind of started looking back over their channel and going through their channel and watching videos. And they were like inspiring me to get out there and create more. Now, I wasn't necessarily ready to jump back in with the camera, but I was doing other things in the photo and video world. Something that I found was Moment. If you don't know what Moment is, and they do a whole lot more now, but one of the things that they really started doing was smartphone lenses. And these are like heavy duty lenses. I mean, really cool. I don't know if it's focusing or not, but really cool lens. You know, and the funny thing is I still buy cases for my phone that allow me to put the lens on the camera. Maybe not anymore. Maybe I've outgrown this lens. So I do know that they have new lenses, but it's still a Moment case. It's got the thing for it. So I started just getting into other things, but still kind of leading me back to the photography thing. But Moment lenses were one. You see the gimbals here. I was doing because of the gimbal of the drone, I was like, man, let me get a gimbal for my phone. And so I was using that. I don't have all of the gimbals here that I have honed, but I think I had the Osmo Mobile 2, the Osmo Mobile 3. This is the 5. Now the 7 just came out. I have another gimbal for my phone. I've also got this gimbal here for my camera. Moment filters. I even started getting into like vintage lenses. They just different things, and they were all kind of bringing me back to photography. And so I was playing with them and just experiencing it more, enjoying it more, finding that passion again. When I started getting back into photography with this kind of stuff, I started looking for photographers on YouTube that were kind of where I wanted to be with my own work. I found Manny Ortiz, I found Jason Lanier. Again, Peter McKinnon is a photographer, but he does much more storytelling. But I found people that were interesting to me and that were a style of photographer that I wanted to be. I wanted to do a lot of work with models. I wanted to use off-camera flash. And so that's kind of where I went. Irene Rudnick is another one, you know, although she's not really a off-camera flash photographer, natural light, but absolutely fantastic. And so all of these little things kind of were weaving together. But now, you know, because of going back to the computer thing, I understood there's a grind that you got to do with this. There's a drive you have to have in order to make this work. In 2018, I basically spent all of 2018 on YouTube learning off-camera flash, learning how to shoot, understanding. That's actually where I learned the term, the exposure triangle, was in 2018. Maybe it was 2017. Frono's photo, you know, Jared Polin. And as soon as I learned the exposure triangle, everything just clicked for me. It was just like, now I get what's actually happening with my camera. You know, there were still a couple other instances where like light bulbs popped on. I remember specifically, I saw a photo somebody had taken and it was a portrait of a family. shot with a 200mm lens at f1.8, and the whole family was in focus. And I didn't understand that because I understood that, at 1.8 or f2, that depth of field is really small, and I didn't understand how you could get a whole family in focus because they're on kind of different planes a little bit, but how do you get that in focus? And so he explained to me a depth of field calculator, understanding how my depth of field changes with the distance I am from the subject. And so I pulled up a depth of field calculator, and mind blown again, another light bulb moment for me. So there was several different things that I kind of all came back and just helped me understand a little bit more what photography actually takes, what the grind requires, what the hustle is. So that's why I have all this crap here. Everything here but a drone. I don't have my camera because I put my camera aside, and I wanted to just kind of show all these little things. And maybe that's where your journey is. Maybe you're burned out a little bit. Maybe you don't necessarily know where you want to go with things. Try different things out. Step outside of what you're typically doing and maybe look at something else. The computer thing was like a hobby for me, and then it took over, and then photography kind of started growing back as a hobby. So maybe your photography has become too much of what you're now doing as opposed to a hobby, and so maybe you need a hobby. Get back into something else. Maybe find something else that you are able to be creative with. Finding yourself shooting some video, whatever it is. Doing the YouTube channel has been really good for me. It's allowed me to kind of expand my photography. I was already shooting, but now I get to do a little bit more storytelling. So, having some of these tools have really helped. I've truly enjoyed it. But in this video, I just kind of wanted to share my journey and maybe why I'm addicted to buying some of this crap. I don't necessarily use any of it anymore. You can see there's a layer of dust on this thing. Because it doesn't get used. I probably should sell it. The lenses, I think I'd actually like to do a video with the vintage lenses. That would be kind of fun to do. Find yourself something maybe outside of your realm. If you're stuck, if you're searching, maybe this is what it is. Maybe you just find something a little bit different. Go outside of what you were doing. I really do hope this video helps. It's been a long one. I know it's me telling my story, but I was lost. I found something else. And then I started to learn what it actually was going to take to grow something, to grow the business. I found little creative avenues that kind of led me back to photography, and it has not been the same since. And I have said often that I regret those 5 years that I stepped away. But now I'm starting to see it different. And now I'm starting to realize that I really did need those 5 years to kind of find myself and find what it was that I was actually passionate about. I needed that time to find the grind, find and understand the hustle. Man, I hope you've stuck around this long. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you now have a better understanding of me as a photographer and why I do what I do and maybe why I'm built the way that I am. But please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the little bell for notifications. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Until next time, keep shooting. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So yeah, a talking headshot, whatever. At least you get the whole upper body here. But anyway, so what I wanted to talk about is, hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. So what I wanted to talk about in this video is dang it, man, it's hard talking to yourself. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. So in this video, Hey everyone, welcome back. And what I wanted to do is basically take you through my journey. And so, hey everyone, and welcome back.